go. It is January 27th, 2022, and it's the day after the Fed meeting minutes. And it seems like the general consensus is Powell said everything that everybody knew he was going to say, and running up until the actual interview after the minutes. So the minutes were announced. Yahoo came out and said this is what it is. Market pumped up from probably about 36 to 39. Hit a point at 39 and then started coming back down. Let's see, that was right about here. All right, so pumped up right about here on the daily, then came back down. And after that, he started getting interviewed, and apparently the market reacted off the interview. So basically, it looks like Bitcoin's going to be range bound. The good news is that when it came down the day prior, it hit off a level that I'm about to show on another chart. Let's actually head right over to that. All right, so this is Crypto Stackers. He used to work for Token Metrics. Now he's starting his own YouTube channel, doing that full time. And to me, it keeps it very simple. And this is where I'm going to start looking at my trends. And so you can see that what he does is he looks at specific trend lines, which you can see here. And what he's talking about in this specific video is how you have these horizontal lines, and that is the margin pressure. So margin pressure level, which means that if people are trading on 1, 2, 3, 4x leverage, which is what most bigger companies do, then this is where there's going to be resistance. And he's created a service that maps it out for you and just puts it on the chart for you. So this is something that I'm going to be getting into. And his thing is you want to, off these trend lines and then also off the horizontal lines, you want to buy and sell resistance. And so right here you have resistance going downward. And this was earlier in the year at 46K. It was a trend line that was a margin pressure level, and you could buy off of it, and then you can sell off the trend line. You can see how it works out. He maps it out right here. And with the service that he provides, these lines basically show up for you, and you watch it in real time. So technically, what you can do is, and you can watch his videos, he explains it all for you. You can buy off of these lines. Sorry about that. You can buy off these lines, and then as it goes up, you can sell off this trend line. And then even if it goes through, probably about 80 to 90% of the time, it comes back down to the trend line and bounces back up. So if you sell here and it doesn't go through, you can always buy back and it'll bounce off the trend line and head back up. But if you do sell and it comes back down like it has been doing because we are on a downward slope, then you can always buy back in at one of the next margin pressure levels. So I just want to bring that up to you guys because that's something I'll be getting into. Token Metrics has been very helpful for me to kind of weed out the good and bad programs. However, next week I'm going to give it one last chance because what I want to do is see if the indices actually work on a daily and weekly basis, because the trades that I've done previously haven't really worked out. So I'm going to give it 1 week and I'll do some live trades on that specific to the indices, and then I'll put that out there for you guys so you can decide for yourselves. But beyond that, Token Metrics is phenomenal for you understanding what a project is, and they've gone through and they've coded it and basically said, you know it's not going to be a rug pull if they give it a good code or give it a good TM grade, Token Metrics grade they call it, because they've gone through the code and they know for a fact that it's not faulty. So if you don't know anything about projects, then it's a great service to have, so you can go through the projects that you think might be good, you might want to put your money into, and you want to check with them and make sure that there's nothing wrong with the project. Because if it's scored low, and they do put sentiment in there as well. If it's scored low, it's not really something that you want to put your money into. All right, so we're going to go into the news. There's a lot going on, which I mentioned this in the last video. It's kind of crazy, all the good news that is out there, and it's not really moving the markets. But I listened to people like Anthony Pompliano and Max Kaiser, who is all-out Bitcoin bull. But they do have very good points of view, whereas, the market sucks right now. But you take a look at the macro picture and what's happening in this world, and people are turning towards Bitcoin. It's just going to happen. It might not look good right now, might not be happening right now. Listen to Eric Crown, and when you take a look at, all he does is technical analysis. He does look at 33 to be a level that if it breaks down, it's going down to 26. And if it breaks through 26, it can get down to 20. But then I listened to Forrest over at Crypto Stackers, and when you take a look at the fact that there are so many leveraged players out there, it only makes sense for them to leverage it so far. So there are those levels that you can keep an eye out for. So you can't just listen to one person. You can't just look. Personally, I don't think you can just look at technical analysis. You have to understand what's going on big picture, because even though the technicals say it's going one way, you can have one driver that can push it upwards or downwards, really. So you got to keep your eye on all of it, which is why we're going to the news right now. So Chainlink hires DM. That's the failed Facebook company. Facebook tried to go into crypto, and they called it DM, and the United States shut them down. The government shut them down. So SEC rejects Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin ETF proposal. So another ETF. That was 34 minutes ago, and I'm watching the price right now. Actually, let me pull it up. BTC. We'll go to the 4-hour here, and like I said, technicals matter, but I'm watching this literally go down. It was up in the last 4 hours. It was heading upwards to upwards to 37, so it's getting pretty high up. And then this news came out, and you can see there's a downtrend. So yes, technicals matter, but let's take a look at what technicals are real quick. Every single one of these bars is supposed to represent human emotion in mass. And every single one of these candles represents that human emotion for what's happening. And what you see all the time is people trying to interpret it. And that's why nobody knows what's going on. Nobody can predict what is going to happen. And that's something that is important for everybody to know. Anybody that's out there that says it's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, you might as well stop listening to them, because nobody has any idea what's going on. But these candles represent human emotion. And when it looks like human emotion is turning around, well, there's a candle that represents that. So it's a good way to understand. So technicals is a representation of that. And you can just look at technicals, and someone that's really good at can say, most likely this is what's going to happen. But our emotions are driven by not only headlines, but things that are happening in people's lives. So it's good to have a macro perspective on what's going on, which is why I like to go through the news with you guys. And I don't go through the YouTube videos and talk about what other people are talking about, because honestly, I'd rather just go through the news myself now and find out what's going on, so I can make my own interpretations, because I'm starting to not agree with a lot of them, I just have to say. All right, so minting your own NFT, beginner's guide. Yeah. So a lot of NFTs are getting minted right now, and honestly, there's a lot of crap out there, as well as tokens. When I first started, there were 9,000, and then when everything started heating up, it was 10,000, and someone told me that it's closer to like 16,000 right now. So anybody can make their own token right now. And I hear people saying, "Oh, my friend just minted a token. You should buy it." Why? What is the purpose? What function does that token have besides the fact that someone said they just bought it? Because if I mint it, I have 10,000 of them, and then I give out 5,000, or I put it out on the market, and I still have 5,000. That means that if it's a commodity value, I can just dump it if I wanted to. And who cares? Nobody knows who anybody is here. So just be careful. And that's what, that's what token metrics is for. You can type in the token, and it will give you a grade on it if they have any information on it. And if they don't have information, maybe it's not something that you want to get into. All right, so Solana could become the Visa. Yeah, we went over that the other day. That's a fake token. All right, so sources to CoinDesk, Coinbase close to listing Solana ecosystem tokens. All right, so apparently all they have is Solana right now. But Solana does have a lot of tokens in their ecosystem, and none of them are on Coinbase. But that doesn't really mean a whole lot anymore, because before there were a few tokens that would get listed by Coinbase within a quarter. Now it's tens of tokens that are listed. So the Coinbase effect, as they used to call it, I'm putting up air quotes here, isn't really as effective anymore. So yeah, you can get exposure, and that's going to help, but not that big of a deal, I got to say. Wonderland rattled after co-founder tied to failed Quadriga CX exchange. So read through this entire story. I'll sum it up for you. You might be wondering about Wonderland Time. It is a very cool website and app that gives you 80,000% APY and is backed by tokens like Magic Internet Money, which is a stable coin, and some other tokens. And I believe AVAX or Luna are in there. But the point is that it gives you a ton of APY. However, what happened was there are apparently two people leading it up, and one is a technical developer who is very respected in the space. And apparently, in an interview, he tied the other co-owner, he tied the co-owner to the Quadriga CX exchange, which not only failed but lost people a lot of money. So I think because of that, as soon as people made that connection, they just started pulling their money out. They said, "I want nothing to do with this app anymore," and that's one of the reasons time's going down, which explains a lot to me. These are emotions, humans' emotions. People make decisions on what they know, and they know that this other person was part of something that failed. So they decided to pull out. Now, in the interview, the developer, who is highly respected, said, "I don't care about someone's past. I met this person, I believe in them, and he believes that people can change." So from reading that, and not just reading the headline, in my head, what I decided to do is actually buying more because it is valued much higher than the price is now, and the APY is still big. So again, I'm not putting a lot of money into it, but I decided to put more in because of the fact that the APY is so high. It's like 80,000% APY, and it's still running. It's still up. Now the value might be lost, but only time will tell if people, like, this story goes away and people want to get back into it. All right. So this is talking about crypto exchanges handling your data. Oh, imagine that. They're taking it and selling it. Not surprised. Moving value from centralized exchanges to a private wallet. They're talking about an app that I don't know, so I'm not going to go into that. Yep, and that's all the news. All right, so let's go into this is starting a few days ago, just yesterday. Wow, I'm telling you, there's so much news that's going on right now. If this news would have come up last year, we would have skyrocketed and finally had that blow off that I've been waiting for 2 years. But again, there's just so much news and adoption. That coupled with the macro outlook. So the macro outlook overall is not great for the stock market in the United States and so on. But the underlying health of the Bitcoin market, which is not being reflected in the price right now, it seems to me like people call it a bubble. I think it's just the opposite. I think this is just like what people say it's the dot-com era that people didn't understand what the internet was. When the internet first came out, they said, "Oh, it's going to fail. Oh, it's worthless." I'm seeing the adoption. I'm watching it right in front of my eyes right now. So I did decide to short-term take funds out, and I'm going to sit on the sidelines and just wait till I see the signs of the technical analysis and all this good news finally coming to a head. All right, let's get into it. Binance to resume sub bank transfers in partnership with Paysafe. Good news for BNB, by the way. House of Representative Committee schedules hearing on stablecoins February 8th. So this is going to be a big date. Put on your calendars, guys. Something's going to happen. Market's going to be volatile. They're going to say, "Oh no, this or that." And remember, the candlesticks are emotions. So people are going to get emotional about the regulator saying something about the crypto state. That's February 8th in a couple of weeks. Crypto community Heritage DAO seeks to acquire Korean national treasures. All right, so again, the DAOs are the people that are trying to basically crowdsource, crowd loan, bring a bunch of people together, a little bit of money, and putting it towards some type of purpose. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, that's to be determined. Anybody can make anything in this space, which is what's great about it. Ethereum developer Consensus poised to double its valuation in pending fundraise. Excellent. Good for you guys. Look at this. Putin pumps the brakes on Russian central banks. So last week, Russian central banks said we should ban crypto. And Putin says, no, we see the future in mining, which makes sense because if you talk about the main issue of Bitcoin mining, it's the heat. And from as far as I know, Russia's pretty cold. So it's a good spot to put miners and not have to worry about cooling them because you have the natural temperatures outside to be able to do so. You just have one big fan in this facility pumping in 10-degree weather instead of each of the individual fans for all these trying to run and creating more heat and energy for you to have to cool down. All right, so digital asset adds former CFTC chairman to board. Great. UBS to acquire robo-advisor Wealthfront for $1.4 billion. Blockchain infrastructure firm Blockdaemon scores $3.25 billion post-money valuation in new fundraise. Wow, insane. All right, and then Valkyrie files for Bitcoin mining ETF. All right, so if they're not getting the actual Bitcoin ETF, they're looking for all other types of ways to group let's see, cryptocurrencies into a basket so traditional companies can start putting money into it. Let's face it, traditional companies do want exposure to cryptocurrencies. They do. You look at the charts over years, and it'd be silly not to want to, even though we're in a downtrend, a current downtrend right now. Even if it gets down to 20K, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's going to go back down. Just had 1 year in a downtrend. So anyway, OpenSea is trying to save people's NFTs, but pesky front runners are poaching them. Ouch, not good news for them, because they have about 2 other players that came out. Rarible and LooksRare are now coming out to give OpenSea a run for their money, and now they're having problems. Wonderland co-founder Revolution Smart Market sell-off. That's what we were talking about before. That's a time token over on AVAX. Putin is in favor of regulating crypto mining in Russia. So not banning it, but let's regulate it. Crypto tax reporting platform CoinTracker raises $100 million in Series A fund. So again, a lot of money coming into this space. Fireblocks, which is like a security for cryptos, raises $550 million in Series E funding, now valued at $8 billion. Nuts. Again, Wonderland. BitMEX Academy launches with vision to raise the bar for crypto education. I think the number one issues is that people don't understand what crypto is, what blockchain is, and I think Coinbase has done a pretty good job of actually paying people to learn about crypto. But BitMEX is taking it a step further and starting an academy, and I think that's great. So MoonPay rolls out credit card checkout tool for NFT purchases. This is something, there's another place that I heard about that where you can purchase an NFT directly with a credit card now. So this is what we talked about in months prior, about how you want everything to be easier to the end user or the consumer. The user interfaces need to be able to just say, okay, this is what you want, and then everything's handled on the back end. So it's getting closer and closer to that now. MicroStrategy will continue to purchase Bitcoin. Of course he will, because if he says anything else, then it could cause the price of stock to go down, and possibly Bitcoin. And then Gemini Galactic approved for FINRA membership. All right, FINRA is Financial Industry Regulatory Authority to operate a broker-dealer registered with SEC, is now a FINRA member. Okay, so that's the Gemini exchange. That's the Winklevoss twins. And that's great that they're actually getting into the traditional finance sector. And again, that's all bullish news. Every single one of this is bullish, except for the time, the Wonderland time, and then maybe one other. Huge news all the way around. Banks involved, countries involved. I'm hearing about how the wallets are the users of Bitcoin, which are called wallets, is increasing all the time. People that are flocking to El Salvador because they think it's like an Eden for Bitcoin, and all these countries that want to adopt it as well, because you hear reports that people don't like it, but you go to El Salvador and you hear cases of people asking the store owners, would you like me to pay in cash or Bitcoin? They say Bitcoin. They want, some at least, want to get paid in Bitcoin because they see the value in it. So again, all bullish news, and I think we went over everything that's here. The Robinhood of Canada wants to lure blockchain development north of the border. Oh, Canada's like really pushing. Like they've already had an ETF for Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're really bringing in mining up there because, again, energy efficiency is good up there with the cold. Canada's really doing a lot for the crypto industry. Anthony Scaramucci, a billion Bitcoin wallets by 2024. So that is the trend that it's on. That's the scale that is happening right now. Tezos finding strong support level. So technical analysis. No, that's wrong. You're good. Mr. Beast Burger will accept Dogecoin with Elon Musk retweets. Is that popular fast food delivery service, Mr. Beast Burger? Oh, okay. Request a simple retweet. All right, great. Tesla refuses to sell Bitcoin. That's great. Oh, here's the one. Okay. Oh, Canada. There you go. I saw this headline. RBC Royal Bank, Canada's largest bank, found running Bitcoin full node. Okay. So this isn't going away, guys. It's not going away. Looks bad right now. Could be bad for the next 6 months, up to a year. I hear both of those. But what happens when this all turns around and you have all this adoption? It's called a network effect. So many people are getting into it. You gotta have patience. And I'm gonna leave off on that. I'll see you guys on the next video.